What if the next world war isn't fought with guns and tanks, but with algorithms, microchips, and data? While most of us scroll through TikTok or binge Netflix, an invisible war is already underway, one that will determine who controls the future, not just of technology, but of civilization itself. Welcome to the Digital Cold War. This isn't the standoff of armies and missiles we read about in history books. Today's battleground is your pocket, your social media feed, and every byte of data flowing through the world's networks. It's not just about who builds the fastest chip or the smartest AI, it's about who writes the rules for humanity's digital future, and unlike the 20th century Cold War, this one affects every person on the planet, whether they realize it or not. Let's start with the foundation of modern power, semiconductors. These tiny chips, smaller than your fingernail, run everything, from nuclear missiles to refrigerators, fighter jets to electric vehicles. Right now, the United States and its allies dominate this critical supply chain. Taiwan's TSMC alone produces over 90% of the world's most advanced chips. But China is desperate to catch up and is rewriting the rules. After the US blocked Huawei's access to advanced semiconductors in 2020, Beijing waited. In December 2024, they struck back, banning exports of gallium and germanium, two rare earth elements essential for advanced chips. China controls 80% of the global supply of these materials. That wasn't just economic warfare, it was a message: if you try to corner us technologically, we'll hit back where it hurts most. Meanwhile, the CHIPS Act is pouring over $280 billion into U.S. semiconductor manufacturing, trying to ensure that future technology is built on American soil, not in Chinese foundries. Because whoever controls the chips controls the digital world, and whoever controls the digital world controls everything else. But this war isn't just fought in chip factories and research labs, it's being wired into the very digital highways that connect our world. China's Digital Silk Road is systematically laying fiber optic cables, installing 5G towers, and building surveillance systems across Asia, Africa, and even parts of Europe. By 2024, Chinese companies had built telecommunications infrastructure in over 170 countries. This isn't charity, it's the most sophisticated geopolitical strategy of the 21st century. If China installs your country's internet infrastructure, do they control the flow of your data? Can they see what your citizens search for, buy, who they talk to, what they believe? The answer is becoming increasingly clear and increasingly concerning. Huawei alone has built 5G networks in over 40 countries. Every tower, every cable, every router is a potential window into a nation's digital soul. Now let's talk about TikTok and why it represents the most sophisticated influence operation in human history. To most people, TikTok is just entertainment, dancing videos, cooking tips, funny memes. But to governments and intelligence agencies, it's a weapon of mass persuasion. In January 2025, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld a nationwide ban unless ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese parent company, divests from the platform. This wasn't just political theater, it was about algorithms that learn more about citizens than any spy agency ever could. TikTok's algorithm knows your political leanings, insecurities, shopping habits, relationship status, even your mental health patterns. All from how long you watch certain videos, what you like, what you skip, what makes you comment. Now imagine a foreign government could subtly shape public opinion with microscopic nudges on your For You page. Amplify certain political messages, suppress others, or gradually shift how an entire generation thinks about democracy, capitalism, or their own country. This isn't science fiction. Internal documents from Meta have shown how algorithmic changes can influence election outcomes. TikTok's algorithm is exponentially more sophisticated. And then, there's artificial intelligence, arguably the most powerful weapon ever developed that doesn't require firing a single shot. In 2024, America's DARPA ACE program stunned the military world when AI-controlled F-16 fighter jets consistently outmaneuvered experienced human pilots in real-time dogfights. These weren't simulations, these were actual aircraft, making split-second decisions faster than any human brain could process. But China isn't sitting idle. In late 2024, reports emerged that China's XLUUV-300 autonomous submarines had achieved over 90% underwater detection accuracy in the South China Sea, without a single crew member aboard. The country that achieves AI supremacy first doesn't just win the next war, they prevent all future wars by making resistance futile. This isn't just about building better weapons, it's about having better intelligence. The U.S. military's Project Maven, designed to integrate AI into battlefield analysis and target identification, just received $795 million contract expansion in 2025 with Palantir Technologies. Why such massive investment? Because in modern warfare, victory doesn't come from having more soldiers, it comes from having better data. Satellites, drones, sensors, everything generates intelligence. The side with superior data doesn't just win battles, they can predict and prevent conflicts before they even begin. They know where enemy forces will move, even what their commanders will decide, sometimes before those commanders know themselves. What we're witnessing is the splintering of the internet, the splinter net. A Chinese internet powered by Baidu, WeChat, and Alibaba. An American internet dominated by Google, Facebook, and Amazon. And soon, perhaps a Russian or Indian sphere too. Tech companies are now proxies for national agendas. Your choice of platform already places you inside a digital alliance. Are you using Google or Baidu, WhatsApp or WeChat, ChatGPT or Ernie Bot? Your answer reveals which side of the digital Cold War you're already fighting on. Here's what makes this conflict so dangerous. It doesn't make headlines every day, but it's shaping how those headlines are written. It decides what you see, how you think, what devices you use, and who's watching on the other side. We often imagine war as tanks and bombs, but what if 21st century warfare looks like this? A viral app, a banned chip, a silent submarine, or a single line of code. When you use Google Maps to navigate, you're feeding data to American intelligence systems. When Chinese students use TikTok, they're contributing to Beijing's understanding of global youth culture. Every click, every search, every like becomes ammunition in this invisible conflict. The most chilling part? We're all combatants whether we choose to be or not. Right now, America holds the technological high ground. Silicon Valley giants dominate global internet traffic. U.S. cloud services power most of the world's digital infrastructure. But China is closing the gap faster than most experts predicted. Chinese companies are leading in electric vehicles, renewable energy technology, and mobile payments, and their surveillance state has become a testing ground for social control technologies that authoritarian governments worldwide are eager to adopt. Meanwhile, Europe is trying to carve out a third way with regulations like GDPR and the Digital Services Act. They're positioning themselves as the guardians of digital rights and privacy. But regulation without innovation often means dependence on others' technology. India, with its massive population and growing tech sector, could emerge as the wild card. Their ban on Chinese apps showed they're willing to choose sides. Their push for digital sovereignty through initiatives like UPI demonstrates they want to control their own digital destiny. But here's what we often miss in discussions about technological supremacy: the human cost of this digital arms race. In Xinjiang, China has deployed AI-powered surveillance to monitor Uyghur Muslims, creating what experts call a digital prison. Facial recognition cameras track every movement, smartphone apps monitor every conversation, algorithms analyze behavior patterns to predict suspicious activity. This isn't science fiction, it's happening right now, and the technology being perfected in Xinjiang is being exported worldwide. Meanwhile, American tech companies are grappling with their own ethical dilemmas. Should Google help the Pentagon build better targeting systems? Should Facebook's algorithms prioritize engagement, even if it spreads misinformation? Should Amazon sell facial recognition technology to police departments? These aren't just business decisions, they're choices that will define the future of human freedom and privacy. So what does all this mean for ordinary people like us? First, understand that your digital choices have geopolitical consequences. The apps you use, the services you rely on, the devices you buy, they all contribute to one side or another in this global competition. Second, demand transparency from the platforms you use. Where is your data stored? Who has access to it? How are algorithms making decisions about what you see and don't see? Third, support digital literacy in your community. The more people understand how these systems work, the harder it becomes for any government or corporation to manipulate them. The winner of the digital Cold War won't just control technology, they'll shape the future of human civilization. They'll decide whether the internet remains a tool for freedom and connection or becomes an instrument of surveillance and control. They'll determine whether AI serves humanity or whether humanity serves AI. They'll choose whether data empowers individuals or enslaves them to algorithmic manipulation. This isn't just about America versus China or democracy versus authoritarianism. It's about what kind of world we want to live in, and what kind of world we're willing to fight for. The digital Cold War is already underway. The question isn't whether you're involved, you already are. The question is, which side of history will you choose to be on? Because in this war, neutrality isn't an option. Every click is a vote, every download is a decision. And every day we delay understanding these stakes is another day we surrender our digital future to others. The battle for tomorrow is being fought today, in the code, in the clouds, and in the choices we make every time we go online. What side are you on? If you found this breakdown eye-opening, share it with a friend. Let's make sure more people understand the invisible battles shaping our world. Subscribe for more deep dives into the systems and stories that shape our lives, and let me know in the comments, how do you see the digital Cold War playing out in your own life?